Dear student class 9A and 9B, welcome to my history class. Today's topic, the Cholas. Already I introduced the lesson, but from the beginning once again I am starting this lesson. Teaching of this lesson is very important to you since the Cholas had established their rule in South India, in southern part of India, with decisive victories against two another kingdoms, the Pallavas and the Pandavas. There were three kingdoms, established their rule in the southern part of India. The first one was the Pandavas, the second one was the Pallavas, and the third one was the Cholas. Out of three kingdoms, the Cholas came to be a powerful kingdom of the southern part of Indian history. Before Chola rule, the Guptas were ruling our country. The Guptas established a strong kingdom throughout India, and their rulers, just like Samudragupta, Chandragupta II, Chandragupta I, Samudragupta, Chandragupta II, and Kumaragupta, Skandagupta, they all were skillful rulers. They established a strong administration throughout the country. People were happy, peaceful. But after the fall of the Gupta dynasty, the three kingdoms established their rules in three parts of southern India. They were, as you know, the Pallavas, the Pallavas, the Pandavas, and the Cholas. The Pallavas ruled for a few years. The Pandavas also continued their rule for a few years. But the Cholas established themselves to be more and more powerful than the two kingdoms. The Pallavas, were defeated by the Chola rulers. Vijayala and his son Aditya Chola, they defeated the Pallavas and ultimately established a strong dynasty in India. In absence of the Guptas, the people of India, especially the people of southern part, which was ruled by the Guptas, although the rulers were given independence, liberty, although they surrendered before the Guptas, but still they accepted the Guptas to be the rulers of their kingdom. So ultimately, the Cholas also established themselves as strong rulers of the southern India, especially Vijayala and his son Aditya Chola. They, after having defeated the Pallavas, they established a strong dynasty in southern India. But it is a fact that the two rulers, Vijayala and Aditya Chola, they not only defeated the Pallavas in the 10th century, but at the same time they paved the way for the establishment of a strong Chola kingdom, Chola empire in India. And with the help of these two rulers, the Cholas were able to establish a strong administration throughout the country. There are mainly two types of historical sources about the Chola rules in India. Number one, literary sources, and number two, archaeological sources. Literary sources. Now, introduction completed, now sources. There are two types of sources the archaeologists and historians found out. Historians have found out these sources were divided into two categories. Number one, literary sources. Number two, archaeological sources. Literary sources and archaeological sources. Now, literary sources are the form of Tamil literature. It provides valuable information on the history of the Chola dynasty, Chola Empire, Kalinga Putnam written by Jayachandra and Jayam Kandar in the 12th century AD. It narrated the great victory of the Cholas in the Battle of Kalinga, and at the same time it also narrated the Tamil poem. So many Tamil poems were written, and it also described. It also had described various descriptions of the war between the Chola and Kalinga, and ultimately gives a vivid description, vivid and graphic description about the rule and about the battle scenes of the Cholas and Kalinga. Now, so these are the literary sources. Literary sources give us various description through poems which were written by a number of Tamil poets and described, and they gives a detailed description about the rule, about the battle of the Cholas, battle between Cholas and Kalinga. Now, archaeological sources. What are the archaeological sources, my dear students? Archaeological sources. Archaeological sources. There are not many archaeological sources of the Chola dynasty, but something is available, and this availability gives us certain information about the Chola rule in India. And there are two types of sources, archaeological sources. Number one, inscriptions, and number two, metafacts. Inscriptions means the main archaeological sources of information for the history of the Cholas. It gives us an insight into the Cholas, insight into the lives of the rulers, administration, political and economic condition of the country, religious, social condition of the country, cultural condition during the Chola period. Besides, two famous, one of the most important famous temples which was constructed by the Cholas. These temples descriptions also are given by the archaeologists, given by the historians. The name of the temple is Brihodeswara Temple. Brihodeswara Temple. It is situated at Tanjavur. It gives us various description about the rule of the Cholas and the artistic style and the majestic style of the temple, Brihodeswara Temple, built around 1000 BC, 1000 CE. By whom? By Raja I in honor of Lord Shiva. Raja I had great respect and worshipper of the famous god Lord Shiva. So, in honor of Lord Shiva, he constructed the very famous temple, Brihodeswara Temple at Tanjavur. Who was he? He was Raja I. He was Raja I. Now, most of the temple inscriptions talk about the land gives to temples. Many important inscriptions have been discovered about and gives us detailed information about the Cholas. Uriyar was their capital, and Devansavamaya temple speaks about the medieval Chola kings. It also gives us land grants. The Urimariyar inscriptions also gives us information about the Cholas and a system of village administration, taxation, and land revenue system. These are given by how do people contribute money during the requirement of the state, and what was about the cooperation the Cholas got from them. Each and every point is discussed in the history of the Cholas. Now, Meda thoughts are also found in very inscriptions. Kanyakumari stone inscriptions also is there, and in this inscription also gives us certain information, useful information about the Cholas. And the Chola kings issued gold, silver, and copper coins, and coins help historians to fix the chronology of the Chola rulers. So these are the archaeological sources of the Chola history. Now, monuments. Last point, monuments, my dear students. Monuments. The Chola rulers were considered to be great lovers of art and architecture, my dear students. Art and architecture. They built many, many beautiful temples, roads, canals, palaces, cities. They constructed so many, rest houses, restrooms. They got dug many canals in order to supply water during harvest. Only in order to get, in order to got themselves benefited from the peasants and farmers who cultivated crops, and during their harvest, during drought, they faced a lot of problem, and due to crops failure they couldn't pay their revenues, and they considered it to be their own loss. That's why the Chola rulers made various arrangements for their betterment and for better cultivation. So the mains, besides, the Chola rulers constructed a number of temples. Out of it, Brihadesvara temple was the first and foremost temple constructed by King Raja Raja in honor of Lord Shiva. It is situated at Tanjavur. It gives us the historians gives us various description about its majestic style, about its art, about its architecture. The gods, the goddesses also are kept there in the inside, the temple. The famous, the famous statue of Lord Shiva also is there inside the temple, and in front of the temple there is a gateway. That gateway is known as Gopugriha and Garbhagriha, where the images of God Lord Shiva is there. And the gateways also are known as Gopuram, In southern India, the Cholas introduced the system of Gopuram. Gopuram means there are two pillars in front of, in between the two pillars there was the main gate, main entrance, where, visitors would come, where, travelers would come and entered into the temples to worship Lord Shiva or to pay respect to Lord Shiva. And it was the exit and entrance, both. And this system and this style and this architecture of construction is known as Gopuram. It was introduced by the Chola rulers. Besides, the Brihadaswara temple also is known as, it is said that the Brihadaswara temple also is known as Raja Rajesvara temple. The Brihadaswara temple, which was constructed by Chola ruler, Raja Raja, this temple also is known as Raja Rajesvara temple. Raja Rajesvara temple. It was one of the most magnificent temples of the South India, constructed by Raja Raja I, Tanjavur. And formerly, it is now Tanjavur, but formerly it was Tanjore. Now the name is Tanjavur. And Lord Shiva is in the form of Nataraj, means dancing mood. A statue of Lord Shiva also is there, uh, and Lord Shiva also is in dancing mood in the form of Nataraja, and the entire temple structure. The entire temple structure is made of granite. Besides, the structure and architecture of this temple occupied a large area. There is a large courtyard. There is a large courtyard inside the temple, and acres of lands are there. The courtyard where visitors would come and enjoy the Vriyadhaswara temple. Still, till today, visitors come and enjoy the temple and its architecture, its artistic style, its majestic style. Each and every part also is a matter of discussion till today. Vriyadhaswara temple. And Bhimani comprises 13 stories. Its top and its crowd wide. Its crowd crowned with an 8.6 meters high single block of stone, and sculptures also gives us its paintings also gives us sculpture paintings give us an idea about the Chola rulers who dedicated their lives for the cause of countries development, growth, and honor. That's why they spent a lot of money in building works. And at the same time, the paintings and designs on the walls of the Vriyadhaswara temples, these temples are considered to be excellent specimens of art. It has been declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. The Chola inscription informed that the temples were the centers of social activity. During festival time, the wealthy person would come and offer huge donations to the temples, which were used for maintaining and decorating them. The lands donated to the temples were called Devanada and Devadaya. These were donated by the Chola kings, the Chola rulers. The temple were also considered the biggest employers after the state, as they provided work and means of livelihood to a huge number of people. This temple also is used for the purpose of education, and it is considered as the educational institution. There are educated people who work in the temple. They, at the same time, they teach their disciples, those who usually come to receive education from them. But now the system is changed. Earlier the system was introduced by the Chola rulers. The people who were educated, they used to offer education, and people would gather them in order to receive education from them. So this temple, once upon a time, was used as educational institution, and the large courtyard also was used for the visitors not only but also for the students who would come at a fixed time to receive education from their teachers, and teachers also used to teach them, and people receive knowledge from them and would become educated up to this, my dear students. Next day, the remaining part of the lesson. Thank you.